Welcome back to Stroke Warrior Radio, where we amplify survivor voices, share real conversations, and remind you every single day that you are not alone on this journey. I'm your host, Ralph Cortese. I'm a stroke survivor and founded Stroke Warrior Radio. Today's conversation is about aphasia, recovery, and staying connected when words don't come easy. I'm honored to welcome our guest today, Justin, am I pronouncing this right, Klowitz?
Yeah, very good.
And his father, Roger Klowitz, the voices behind the podcast I hope you've heard of, When Words Don't Count, When Words Don't Come Easy. It's an
Right.
incredible podcast. I loved listening to him. Justin and Roger, welcome to Stroke Warrior Radio.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Glad to have you guys.
Yeah.
I'm grateful you're here. But before we dive in, Justin, can you briefly share who you are and what your role in this journey is with your dad?
Yeah, definitely. My name is Justin Klowitz. I am 40 years old, and my dad had his stroke 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's actually going to be nine next in a couple of weeks,
That's right.
a couple of months
Oh,
from
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, so this has been something going on for the past 8 years. And I work in television production, and being creative and whatnot has always been there for me. So when we had the idea, or when he had the idea of starting a podcast, it was definitely something that I was interested in and helping him out with.
Awesome. Roger, I'd love to hear from you in your own way at your own pace. I don't know where your aphasia is these days, but let's get to know you a little bit today.
Hey, yeah, well, I'm 75 years old. I had my stroke, as I said, it's going to be 9 years, January, February, March, April 31st. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and it's just been a journey for 9 years now, just trying
Yeah.
to learn how to read, write, and talk.
Yeah. Well, I'm 10, almost 10 and a half years post, so I'm right there with you. Let's start at the beginning. Can you take us back to the day of your stroke?
Sure. Um, woke up on a Sunday morning and had a really bad headache. And told my wife, I have a really bad headache, and I'm just laying on bed. And she says, "No, get out of bed, go take a shower. Hopefully you'll feel better. Take a couple of pills, aspirin or whatever afterwards." And so, yeah, I went and took a shower. Came out. She said, "Well, go get dressed and we'll go down." I said, I told her it still hurt. It still hurt me bad. And so she
Yeah.
said, "Well, just get dressed and we'll go downstairs. We'll have something to drink or whatever." And we'll see what happens. So I went to get my clothes, picked up my pants and put it on my head.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
so
something wrong there.
so my wife looked at me and said, "Well, I think something's there." So uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I had no idea. And so finally, I got dressed, and my head was killing me. I couldn't. She fi- after
She
I put
started asking you questions and
yeah,
you weren't really making sense.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and so yeah, she immediately called the ambulance. Uh, and then that the ambulance came. I vaguely remember that they were asking me questions I couldn't answer, or I was answering it the wrong way. So they immediately put me into the ambulance,
Yeah.
and that's the last I remember. Uh,
Wow.
well, once I got to the hospital, I wasn't alive anymore. I wasn't
Alert.
alert at all. I didn't know
Yeah.
what was going on. And the next time next time I was able to wake up was 5 weeks later.
Wow. That's a long time. Just so you know, Roger, there's no rush. We're good taking our time, for anything.
I understand. That's just how.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when I start talking. To keep it go to keep my sentences together. I sometimes talk quickly, so I try not to though.
Well, I'm very conversational. We don't need to push it.
Okay.
If we need to do a couple shows, we will. So, um, th- Were you at all aware of that you were having a stroke, or was your
No,
wife
well, first,
aware?
yeah, you know what? I know what a stroke was, but I really didn't know what a stroke was, And so,
Right,
yeah, so, but the only thing that was bothering me was my head. I mean, I just had a really, really bad headache. And that was, so I didn't, it didn't even put in my mind that this was a stroke.
Hmm.
I thought I had a really bad headache. And then, when
wow.
the ambulance came and they started asking me questions, um, you know, I think one of them was
Oh
what,
yeah, they were asking him. Our whole family are big hockey fans, and so they were asking him which team Wayne Gretzky plays for or played for, which we're Los Angeles King fans, so that's definitely something that he's always known. So when he didn't know the answer to that, that's when my mom was like, "All right, it's time to go."
yeah.
Were you lucky enough to go to a stroke center,
Yeah,
certified stroke
that's
center?
another, they took us to Northridge Hospital. Northridge Hospital is kind of like a medium-sized hospital,
Local.
the local medium-sized hospital. And I guess you could tell that story better than I do because I wasn't alive. I wasn't awake at that time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so well, would you like me to take it from just my point of view that day and then through to the hospital?
Well, I
Or
no, well, I can tell when we got to the hospital. I mean, as I said, I didn't know what was going on at the hospital at that point.
yes.
Right.
So I got that call on Sunday, on that Sunday afternoon, morning kind of from my mom. I was actually out and I didn't have my phone on me, and so when I got back to my car, I saw I had about 12 missed calls from my mom, my
Oh,
sister. Of course, the one time I don't have my phone with me. And all I'm told is that dad had a stroke and he's in the hospital. And so at that point, that was all the info we had. So by the time I got there, he was uh, again, he was at Northridge Hospital, which it was just it wasn't a stroke specific hospital, didn't have a stroke
right.
center. And so,
Yeah, they
yeah.
do. Yeah,
Oh, they
they
do.
do.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
sorry.
the no,
Oh,
that was the big. Well,
oh,
yeah, the story. I mean, I can go back
gotcha.
back to the story where afterwards I was told this, but that when
Right.
when they took us to the Northridge Hospital, my wife said to them, well, should we take her? Should we? When they said you had a stroke and it's bad, they said, well, should we take her out of this
Should we
hospital?
take him to
To
Cedars?
Cedar Sinai or one of the other big hospitals. And my wife told me later that they told her, first of all, that we have one of the best small departments that people from other hospitals come here for their stroke. For their strokes, that they do have a good department there, and also that they were able to that oh I wasn't that even if I wanted to go if even if she wanted me
Okay.
to go to another hospital I wasn't
In
in
condition.
condition to go anywhere.
Right, right.
Yeah, but they said that we have the best one here, and as it turns out,
It
it
was.
really was.
Yeah.
Were you able to get the TPA drug,
No, I don't think he was.
That's it.
The drug that if
the
you're
blood thinner drug,
the
the
blood
clot
thinner.
buster?
Yeah,
No.
you were the clot
Uh,
buster. No, he wasn't. Yeah.
no, no,
Wow.
no.
Yeah.
Um, you kind of threw me off because that 5 weeks of not real being aware of what was going on. I
No,
guess,
I was unconscious for they
yeah,
kept me unconscious for 5 weeks.
Yeah, and so just to kind of go more into that, so while he was in there in the ICU for those 5 weeks, he was on a respirator and he got what was called ARDS, ARDS, which was a pneumonia type thing, a pneumonia type
ooh,
sickness, which so then that affected his lungs. So before they could even wake him up from the coma to see it, what brain activity he had and whatnot, and how the aphasia was going to affect him, we had to make sure that he could even breathe from his lungs.
Well, yeah, well,
So
oh my gosh.
they said that I died twice.
yeah, there was 2 points where
2 points where,
Wow.
yeah, and they said for what I had, what's it called again? That you
an
said,
anemic. Well, he had an anemic stroke, but he got ARDS
well,
from
yeah, from the ARDS, they said 1 out of 2 people, only 1 out of 2 people live. It's a
Mhm.
Oh
one,
my gosh.
yeah.
Yes.
So they told you
Yeah,
and everybody
yeah,
that,
we had that one meeting where the whole family gets together and it's basically let's hope if he makes it this weekend, then we should have a clear path, but there's a possibility he might not make it the weekend. So, yeah.
I'm going to ask, jump to you for a little bit, Justin. What was the hardest part um, about the first 5 weeks? I mean, when did you realize this was going to change everything? What was the emotions like, and how did you and your family get through that?
Yeah, no, it was really tough right away because I don't think any of us realized that we were really in it for the long haul. Again, I don't think we realized what a stroke was, other than uh, it affects your speech a little bit. In the past, it could affect muscles in your face, muscles in your cause paralysis, but the actual like what a stroke really does and how a family has to come together and how you really have to support each other. I don't think any of us realized that that's what we were about to encounter. So those first few days, few weeks in the hospital, we made it clear between all four of us, my mom, my brother, and sister, that we weren't going to leave him alone at the hospital at all. So the four of us were taking shifts in the hospital. We were all switching off, sleeping over there. As much as we loved the doctors and the nurses, and we thought they were all great, we always felt that if we had someone there, we were always able to get a little more information, or always able to, if he wasn't at the front of the line for something, if we were there, maybe we could get him a little closer to the front of the line for
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Just
exactly.
always we
And
always just felt a little more comfortable with one of us there. So all four of us, we all work full time. So that was something that really affected all of us. We realized that we were all, in it together and we were going to make it work. So starting there, I think before we even realized it, our family really got like much closer right away.
yeah, that's fantastic. Um, how did that relationship, well, let's go back to when you did wake up. What was that all? How did that feel? What were you going through?
yeah, well, I woke up, and uh, I guess I started looking around, and I thought I was talking, but I guess I really wasn't talking, saying things that made sense. Uh,
Oh,
and
Yeah,
when I,
Mom and Ricky were there, say.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, my our best friend, but my wife's best friend, and we've known her forever, and she was there also, and they were sitting there, and all I guess they said. The first thing I said was, "Where but my other son is Jason," and I just like looked around and I said, "Is Jason here?" And I hadn't talked for 5 weeks. That's the first thing that they both looked at me. They said, like, he's talking. He's what,
right.
and
Wow.
yeah, I mean that's how I woke up. And then again, I still didn't know anything was going on. So they took me out
But
of
then you had Jeopardy on.
yeah, and the TV was on and Jeopardy was on. I always used to watch Jeopardy, and Jeopardy was on, and I'm looking at, and I couldn't read. I didn't know the letters.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, so it was like, I'm watching that, and I said something, at that point, I still didn't know what I had or what was going on, but I knew something was wrong when I couldn't. I could hear the words, but I couldn't see any of the letters or knew any of the letters or anything.
How long did it really take after you became aware to understand? And it probably took a way long time because of the aphasia, but I mean, how long did it take before you realized something's seriously wrong?
I'm telling you, pretty much right after that, on that same day. I mean,
Oh, okay.
once I got up, I mean, once they woke me up, When I started watching the television, and they were talking to me, and I was trying to talk back, with them.
And they no, we couldn't understand you.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah, so that's basically, again, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything at that.
right.
Yeah.
Did well, let's talk about going back a moment, going back before the stroke. What was your life, Justin, I guess?
Mhm.
What was the life like before your dad's stroke?
I would say we're definitely a pretty average close family. I mean we all live pretty close together, all my siblings. I have two nieces, he's a grandpa. So we all kind of get together most of the time for Sunday dinners and whatnot.
Yeah, we're about 30 minutes away from each other.
And
Nice.
Yeah.
we're big Los Angeles sports fans, so we've always gone to hockey games, baseball games, basketball games.
Yeah.
So and also our I would say our family band is Bruce Springsteen. That's all something that's brought us closer together. So whenever he's in town, we go see him. That was actually something when he was in the coma during the stroke, when he was in the ICU. We would sit there and just play Bruce Springsteen nonstop, hoping that sometimes we would see his foot tap a little bit, so we knew that he was listening. And even if he doesn't remember it, we know that his body heard it.
Well, cool.
Uh-huh.
What do you remember most about the early days after the stroke, Justin?
Uh, I remember not getting a lot of sleep, and just the uncertainty of wondering what was going to happen the next day, and also trying to like calibrate if how much I believed the doctors. As much as I trusted them, it was always like, are they trying to give me the glass half full or half empty? I never
Yeah.
really tell. And so that was always just in the back of my mind and something I would always wonder during those first few days.
Did you, one of the frustrations I had is I didn't think I was getting enough information. Unfortunately, I was at a teaching school, so I had to deal with a 30-year experienced neurologist as my doctor and all these attending physicians.
Right.
So my frustration was enormous. And I had a lot of anger because my first ambulance driver left. He didn't take me to the hospital. I had to call another ambulance.
Wow.
So, what were the frustrations that you guys found that you would like new stroke survivors to know?
Hmm.
It affects everything. It affects the relationships. It affects again, speaking, reading, writing, doing anything. So you have to always go forward. You always have to be thinking that you have to you've got to do things to understand what's happening, and to realize that it's not just you. You're not alone, that other people have had this, and you just have to just keep moving on. You can't quit. You got to keep going.
Hmm.
Did they put you immediately into inpatient rehab or did you go
Yeah,
outpatient?
the next day,
Yeah, when he woke up.
Oh,
I woke up the next day that they had a real. That's what I'm saying. They had this hospital
They had an amazing
had
rehab.
a
Yeah.
has made, yeah. And so I mean, and again, I really just didn't know what was going on. So they gave me a piece of paper and told me to write my name, and I looked at it and I scribbled. I mean, everything was scribbles. Everything was nothing was making any sense.
Yeah, we found one of his sheets recently, and 8.5 years later, I mean, he was in shock that was what he was writing the day after.
So then and then they over the next day or two or three, they were giving me different things to
Different like shapes to put in,
shapes and things.
and
So
trying to recognize colors.
yeah, and so I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know colors. I didn't know. I
yeah, yeah.
basically realized that I didn't know anything at that point.
You guys are a great example, by the way, of stroke as a family affair.
Oh, it
It's
is.
and not, it's just not the patient that has the stroke.
Hmm.
It's the whole family. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, did you did you feel like, Justin, you were getting enough information? And if you
Um,
weren't, how did you get more?
Yeah. Uh, I would say that we really, if at any point we didn't feel like we were getting enough information, we really took it into our hands. Between the four of us, we would we would go in there and we would wait to talk to the doctor. We would, if he was busy, then we would call. We would call. We would say we need him to call us back. We would say we understand that he has this, and that, but our father is our number one priority, and so that's, just we basically just were his number one advocate, and we weren't going to let anything stop us. And so what I would say to a new family is that you need to just go full throttle, and you can't let anything get in your way. If there's a question you have, you need to ask it. If you don't get the answer you want, then ask it again.
I, people are sick of hearing me say this, but it took me a couple of years to finally learn. The only dumb question was the one I didn't ask.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Very
Um, how is, let's talk about what was the hardest part to accept emotionally for either one of you.
Mhm.
emotionally, again, I didn't know what was going on. So emotionally, it was, I thought I was okay. I mean, as far as on the stroke part, my right arm and my right leg were a little weak.
Okay.
Just but not much, and so they started giving me different things to do with it, and so that's when I realized that something's really going on here. And they had me doing all kinds of exercises and stuff in the first 3, 4, 5 days, and at that point is when I knew that I have to really concentrate. I have to really learn what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, and using my arms, my legs, trying. They wouldn't let me really walk. When I went to the therapist place downstairs, they'd have me hold on to things to try and walk, and it took me, I would say. Um, I was there for like 2.5 weeks after I woke up. I was still in they kept me in the hospital
Right.
and so I guess in the second week is when it really hit me that I there's a lot of things that I really have to learn how to do
Mhm.
all over again. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And how is that making you feel emotionally?
Yeah, emotionally, uh, I was I felt I was strong enough to deal with all of this. And so I just concentrated on doing what they told me to do. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so that's basically how I kept going.
Mhm.
I'm curious. I always ask this question and people look at me strange, but how did your stroke affect the way you saw yourself?
Oh, that's really yeah. That it's going to change my life. That it's
Yeah.
going to. I didn't know in what regards it was going to. At that point, I had a company, a
Credit card merchant.
credit card merchant company that I had, and um, I, I had a partner that he was running it, and I knew that at that point I really couldn't since at that point I'm starting to learn that I didn't know reading, I didn't know writing or anything else, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to go back to work, and so that kind of hit me that I
Yeah.
that maybe in my mind it was, oh, maybe in another 2 months I'll be okay. You don't know how long these things are going to last. You don't know what's going to happen. So I'm saying, well,
Yeah.
I guess I'm not going to go to work for another 2 months, 4 months, but I'll be back. Nope.
Mm.
not
Yeah. You
not
haven't been back to work at all then?
no, well, yeah, I went back to work, but basically, just to kind of hang out there. It was more than, more. It was, I enjoyed being there with everybody. We had about 80 people that worked in the office. So
Ah,
it was a place to walk around and to, just to go back to where I was. But I wasn't really working. I was
yeah.
there to just
It
to,
involved a lot of speaking on the phone,
yeah,
and so
that kind
and
of
a
stuff.
lot
So
of
I couldn't go, I couldn't do that. Plus working on the computer and so on, I didn't know numbers. I didn't know not numbers, but letters and so on. So I knew I couldn't do that anymore. So, but I guess it was about a year after is when I started to go back to the office. It took
Okay.
about a year before I started to go back to the office. I went in maybe once a week after maybe 6 months. But then I started to go like 2 or 3 days a week about a year later, and I continued doing that until last year we sold the company. So that
Oh, okay.
yeah, so so now I don't do that at
yeah.
all.
But it was someplace for him to go and at
Yeah,
least be social for a few hours and get out.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because that survivor seclusion, and and I had the issue of I don't want people to see me like this.
Hmm.
The left side affected, riding in the damn grocery cart wheelchairs, electric wheelchairs and all that.
Right. Yeah.
That was a hard time.
I'm sure.
Well,
Yeah.
are you okay now? I mean, I'm 100% okay now physically. My arms and my legs and everything are 100% better. So
I still have, I'm off my walker and cane. It took 7 years, so
okay.
it's never as good as it gets, like they tell us. It can happen with neuroplasticity. Um, so I do work a full-time job. I run the radio. Started the radio, Stroke Warrior Radio also. So I still have some pain or numbness on the left side, like from my big toe back to my outside ankle on my left foot is completely numb. I can't even feel it.
Oh, okay.
But, I've got little issues here and there, but I work a full-time job. I'm active. I've coached my granddaughter's softball team,
Uh,
so I mean, I'm out on a field with the cane coaching, but, I did it.
how severe was your aphasia when you first came out of your stroke?
I didn't have it.
Oh, okay, so you didn't have aphasia, you had your
I
stroke.
just had a left side brainstem stroke. It did affect my handwriting.
Hmm.
Um, I do still have some cognitive issues. A little bit of, I'm getting better recently because I've gotten some coaching and stuff for organization, and I've missed follow-ups or I'll miss appointments and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of cognitive issues still going on. But
Hmm.
as I said, I run two businesses and I'm on our board of directors for Stroke Awareness Oregon.
That's great.
I think part of what I did and still do, unfortunately, and I think it is unfortunate, but I do a lot of stuff because of fear. I have this, and tell me if you guys agree with this. I have this urgency that I got to do these things before I go. It's just scary.
Yeah,
I
no,
had a heart issue in 2001. I died 3 times, just like you were saying. I had the stroke in 2015. So it's like, how much time do what's my legacy going to be? It's not going to be that I gave up.
There
yeah.
you go.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's how mine is too. I don't want to give up. One of the things that I will say to this day now is I don't want to be a burden. That's my biggest thing. I don't want to be a burden. And I feel there's days when I feel like I'm a burden both to Justin, to my wife, to my kid, and my other kids. I feel like I'm a burden sometimes, and that's
And we remind him that he's not, obviously, but
but that's
that's not.
Obviously, yeah.
yeah, but that does get to me, and that's when I get depressed, is when I
Yeah.
feel like I'm a burden to people.
Yeah. I think, and they didn't explain to us either how much of a mental health issue we'd have after the stroke. It took me probably 2, 3 years before I started getting some counseling to get through those depressions.
Ah, okay.
I've told people, for
Yeah.
example, I sat in front of a bottle of Jack Daniels and my pain pills twice. If it
Mm,
wasn't for pictures of my grandchildren on the wall, I don't know
yeah,
if I'd be here,
yeah,
you
wow.
know.
There you go.
And,
Yeah,
and it's the most difficult thing we've ever done in our lives. For me, it's become the most rewarding because I have better relationships. I learn patience. I don't have the bad temper anymore. So
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah, I still have, I still, I don't have patience.
Yeah, he definitely has lost his patience, and
And
that has to do, I think, with the stroke and the aphasia. It's he's very uneasy, and
I get very frustrated. I get very, very frustrated quickly.
I would say
yeah,
it's more confusion. It's more it's you're frustrated because you're kind of confused, or because you're not learning something
Yeah,
quick enough.
yeah. I mean, I
yeah,
just,
that frustration comes when you all of a sudden you take a step and you're like, whoa, I can't, I
well,
feel out of bounds.
I'll give you a great example. I'll try. I'm trying to read now. And we'll get to the newspaper, and I want to read something on the sports section. Now, uh, 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 Justin or anybody else on, let's say, the article that I'm reading or trying to read would take you probably 2 minutes to read that.
Right.
In the beginning, it would take me 45 minutes to read that. Now it probably takes me 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to read it. I don't, to this day, I don't know the difference between a B, a D, or a P. So if I'm trying to read something and the word P, D, or P comes up, I have to totally stop reading what we're trying to read and figure out, I'll go A, B, C, D, and I'll go through the letters to see if which one that is,
Which one would fit there?
which one will fit in there. So yeah, so that's when and what ends up also happening is if it's a long article, and I'm already trying to read it for 20 minutes, I'll just say, oh, the heck with it. I just give up. That's the only times I'll ever give up is when
Really
I'll just get so frustrated that I'll say, I don't need to read the rest of it. I know what the article is. So
Well,
that,
your recovery sounds pretty good mostly. And at some point, I think what I'm hearing anyway is you recognize the little victories that you were achieving every day, and you started to build on those.
yes.
Is that true?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Because yeah, in the beginning, as I said, I didn't know anything. Then my wife she still teaches kindergarten, so she brought back a whole bunch of kindergarten class, kindergarten
Worksheets.
worksheets for me, and with the A, B, C, and that's basically how I learned how to read again
And write.
and
Yeah.
write.
Yeah,
Well, writing is still
tracing.
that.
Yeah, you're right. But still learning your letters, just tracing.
Yeah, I mean, she
Yeah.
all at home for me, and that's what I would do. I mean, in the afternoons, I do I
You
try,
also did a lot of puzzles,
yeah,
a lot of jigsaw
and I
puzzles.
do, yeah, I still do jigsaw puzzles. But I won't do the big ones. I'll only do like 400 or under. I
Okay.
don't like those 1,000 ones with those little tiny things in there. But I'll do the 400 ones, and I enjoy doing those because again, it uses my mind to be able to find different things. So that helps me. I still go to speech therapy once a week. And that's, as I said, 9 years, almost 9 years later. I'm still going once a week, and I get homework. I feel like I'm back in school again. I get homework to do, and another thing that I just started to do was I'm taking classes at one of the colleges. I just that they have an adult section there, so I just started to take a couple of different classes. So just trying to be with other people and try and learn a few different things. I took last semester. I took a computer class because I forgot how to work a computer. I mean,
Yeah.
after 3 or 4 or 5 years, I still couldn't do it. So I went and took a class in that just to start learning again how to do that. I try and stay out of the house. One of my biggest rules is that if I am at home in the afternoon, I will not put the television on until 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So if I'm so I have to that means that you have to do something, whether I'm doing homework, whether I'm doing puzzles,
Taking the dog out for a
taking the
walk.
dog for a walk, or just meeting one of my friends. But if I am home, I will not put the television on until 6 o'clock. So that's
Good,
the rule.
good rule. I need to try that one. Let me jump to you, Justin. What
Mhm.
was the emotions and the stuff like after his stroke? I've heard care partners say they were grieving, for their loved one. I know as a survivor, I grieved too, and I'm sure you did too, Roger. But how did you move through that together?
Um, I think it really kind of brought us closer in a sense. I mean, I think that's kind of how we dealt with it and maybe I grieved through it without even realizing it. I think before the stroke, we were a close family, but post-stroke, I think it made me realize, like you said, we don't know how long any of us have. It made me realize that my dad was getting older and yeah, I don't know how much longer he has. So I definitely made it like a priority, and especially during those first few weeks, few days, and now still a priority 8.5 years later to really build our relationship and make sure that we were closer. We talk, I would say, 3 times a day at this point. I call him almost every day on my lunch break. If there's a Laker or Kings game, a Dodger game, we talk
During the game.
multiple times during whatever game. So between all those sports, I mean, there's pretty much a game every night. So yeah, so we talk at least normally on my lunch break. And again, that's just me. If I'm at work and I'm just going to pick something up, I just check in with him to see how his morning is going. And it's not just me when I'm talking to this. My brother does this, my sister does this, and my mom, of course, who's with him nonstop, she's checking on him also. So it I think it brought us all closer together. As we were, like I said, we were a close family before, but I think the way that we kind of dealt with it and grieved with it was by all of us kind of working hands on and taking charge in our own little ways and helping out and yeah, and just being there for him in different ways, which I think we all are. I think you count on us all for different
Yeah.
things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to turn the question on you that I asked Roger before. What have you learned about yourself from this journey?
I think that that I think that I don't know if I necessarily like had as much empathy before, or if I just had as I don't think I had anything such as a parent having a very big medical issue. Nothing like this had ever really hit me before, and I don't think that I I had any way of knowing how I would react, and I definitely think that it made me a more empathetic person in all situations, and I'm grateful for that in a way.
Cool, very cool. Well, before we run out of time, I want to discuss a little bit about the podcast. What
Yeah.
inspired you guys to create a podcast around your journey?
Well, I'll start. I'll let him start because it was his idea, and so as soon as he brought it to me, I was like, "Let's do it." Because if it was going to get his voice out there,
Yeah.
I was all for
But
it.
yeah, I mean, that was what it was. Basically, there's so many podcasts. Everybody's got podcasts, and I said that I said to Justin, why don't we let's do a podcast? And he looks at me and says, "Yeah, okay, what?" And I said, "Well, why don't we do one on aphasia?"
Yeah,
And it like lit up. It lit up.
Hmm.
We both lit up at each other,
Yeah.
and that's basically what happened. I just said there there's what there's 20 million or 2 million people in the United States that have aphasia, but nobody knows what it is.
I mean,
Unless
yeah.
unfortunately,
unless you have it, or somebody in your family, or somebody in their neighborhood. Otherwise, nobody knows what aphasia is.
it really didn't become mainstream until Bruce Willis uh,
Exactly.
was diagnosed like 2 years ago. That's when people started really seeing that word in the mainstream, and it was like, hey, we've already known about it for 6 years when that came out.
Yeah, it's when I had my stroke, the stroke itself wasn't very aware.
Yeah.
People
Oh,
weren't aware, but because of people like Jamie Foxx
Yeah,
doing that special about his stroke, and
Oh, yeah.
Sinbad and Sharon
Yes. Uh-huh.
Stone, all those people.
yeah.
It's become a lot more informational from the
Yeah,
medical
but
profession
it's
these
still
days.
not out there. That's the thing that still bothers me, that it's still not out there. If you took
A survey.
a survey, I don't think you'll get more than 10% of the people knowing what it is. If you put it
Oh
across
yeah.
the country, that
Agreed.
yeah, nobody knows what this is. So when we said let's do a podcast, I said let's do this, and
Yeah, and focus on aphasia. I
we
mean,
lit up.
we looked around and there's some really great YouTube channels. There's a few of them, but there wasn't really any like podcasts. So that's why we decided to go full in. And
Yeah.
I think it's very definitely helped my dad. I see when he's speaking to other aphasia survivors, I could hear that connection between the two of them where it's something that I can't relate to, but him and our guest having aphasia, it's something that I could hear that connection.
Do you feel like your recovery became better, Roger, after you met other aphasia survivors?
Honestly, I don't think that really has a lot to do with it. I think I just got it does when I meet other people with it, I feel closer to them. Yes.
Right.
I don't think it really affect until we started doing this. It until now, now it's starting to, when I talk to other people with it now, it's starting to come up to me. Before that, that wasn't really the reason that we wanted to do this. I wanted to do this just to show and to explain to
And to
people
get the word
and
out.
get the word out. That was what it was really all about. And and some of the people that we have, besides having people who have aphasia, we also have speech therapy people in our that are in our
Speech therapist.
uh,
Yeah, I saw that was a great episode with your
yeah,
speech therapist.
we're going to have another one with my
His first
my
therapist. Yeah,
original therapist,
I was with him
Oh,
right.
cool.
right from the hospital. So I just spoke to her a couple days ago. We're going to do something with her. So I want not only people that have aphasia, but
Specialist.
I want specialists, and I also want to use. I think one of the other things that I'd like to do is family. In other words, not just have the person with the aphasia. I want
Caregivers.
their wife or their kids or whatever to be on there also.
What has surprised you the most about your response from your listeners?
That's
Yeah.
you.
I mean, I think the biggest surprise was seeing how instantly it affected people right away. That within a few days of me posting it, I was getting messages from all over the world, from Ireland, from Spain, from Mexico,
Australia.
Australia, and then se several states of people just whether it was a message of I just checked out your podcast and it made me feel less alone, or whether it was just a like. I mean, just knowing that it was something that we created right here and
Yeah,
that started with his just I would like to speak to people. I'd like to get the message out about aphasia. Like right there, that just was like, wow, all right. We accomplished our goal within the first episode, it made me feel like.
yeah. Well, it's I think going back to that fear we had, it's um how did you feel about sharing your story publicly?
Oh,
I mean,
I love sharing my story. I mean, because that
yeah,
to me is what it's all about.
exactly.
Yeah, people have to understand, and I'm grateful and really lucky that I have my family. There's a lot of people that have aphasia that are by themselves. They don't have family, or their family is not close to them. And what I've been hearing is that a lot of times they lose their friends because their friends don't want to talk to
Yes,
them because they can't talk well. So to me that's why I want this out there. I want people to understand that it has nothing to do with my
Intelligence.
intelligence. This has to do with the way I speak. But I just have to make sure that people understand it has nothing to do other than my speaking.
Mhm.
And
exactly. It's not our intellect that's been affected. Not
exactly.
at all. I used to get so angry reading social media posts about John Fetterman in the beginning, and
Yeah,
that just
yeah,
angered me so bad
me too. Me too.
because they
Yeah,
question
it
his
was just,
intellect, and
yeah,
it's not intellect at all.
nope, no,
no, but that's what they keep trying to throw
yeah,
at you.
uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I do what I do. What
Thank you.
has your recovery taught you guys about resilience?
That's what it is. It's resilience. You don't give up. I mean, the biggest thing is not giving up. So the resilience is that you've got it. If you keep going, and you're gonna, in the beginning, you feel that you're getting success early, but as the years go on, you don't know. It takes long. It's not longer.
It's harder to see the results.
Yeah, it's harder to see the results that,
In a smaller picture. But if someone like me from the outside, I notice results like whether it's him, as he said, finishing an article in 15 minutes instead of 40 minutes. He might not realize what an accomplishment that is, but we know from the outside what an accomplishment that is. Or whether it's you just being able to uh, do this podcast. Years ago, you wouldn't have been able to do this.
right.
Or you deciding to take the step to go to community college and take a class. I mean, all of this has showed what resilience is.
Yeah.
Do you affirm that with him when he doesn't realize it?
Yes, they do.
Oh,
They do it all the time.
yeah,
All my kids do
we
it.
definitely do. Anytime he gets negative, we remind him how far he's come.
Yeah, it just takes a long time. You're always going to get better. That's the other thing that they tell you. They tell you that if you're not okay in a year, then that's it.
There's a plateau.
That's your plateau. There is no plateau.
No, there isn't.
People have to
I want to punch
understand.
those people that say that.
I know there is no plateau. Yes, it's a lift. It's not as fast, but you're always getting better. Everything you
Exactly.
always have to keep going.
What gives you both hope today?
Um, I think just having this conversation, getting together, knowing that what we've accomplished so far, just in our first few episodes of this podcast, has reached so many people that the possibilities are endless. And just knowing that we can reach this audience has really
Yeah, just
made me hopeful.
doing something like this, which is it's just it takes us what, an hour to do. I mean,
And this,
and then look how many people are hearing about it or are seeing it. So to me, that's the biggest success of it all.
and building relationships with people that we might have never spoken to before.
Yeah.
And knowing that this community is out there.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else you want to share today before we wrap up?
No, I'd just like to say thank you for having us on. And
Yes.
it's really great to meet you and to see how passionate you are. I appreciate it.
No,
Thank
absolutely.
you for that.
No,
Thank you for
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
How do people find out about your podcast?
You can check us out on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube. Just search When Words Don't Come Easy. We're on all platforms. We have 6 episodes out so far. We're usually been coming out with episodes every Sunday, and we plan to continue. So check us out.
Cool. Cool. Roger and Justin, thank you for your honesty, your courage, and doing the podcast, and your patience with me as well. To our listeners, if today resonated with you at all, remember your story matters, your recovery is valid, and connection is still possible. You can find the podcast When Words Don't Come Easy on major platforms. Until next time, remember you are a warrior achieving victories every day. Catch the wave. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.